If we don't stop Thrawn, everything will be in vain.
Hello there.
This is where the fun begins.
What's up, guys? Unofficial Star Wars here. Hope you're all doing well, and welcome to my Ahsoka Episode 6 initial thoughts / reaction video. Another week, another episode of Ahsoka that just doesn't miss. First things first, what an incredibly amazing episode. That's all I can really say into the regards of my non-spoiler kind of reaction. So yes, there are spoilers ahead for Ahsoka Episode 6. This episode was nothing of what I had actually anticipated or expected to see. If you guys have been watching my other Ahsoka videos here on the channel, in and out of those videos, I've kind of been theorizing on that we will see Thrawn in this episode, Episode 6 of Ahsoka, but I didn't believe that it would be revealed until the very end of the episode, and this episode took that and turned it around and gave us so much more, with not just having Thrawn show up in the first, 10-ish minutes or so, but this episode also gave us freaking Ezra Bridger and his return into the Star Wars universe, as we see, this older hermit kind of almost like Luke Skywalker that we saw in the sequels for Ezra Bridger, but he's clearly a lot more happier. I also have to say, I love those little turtle rock shell troll things. Those guys were absolutely just adorable, and I love the way that they had kind of just led Sabine over to him. It's honestly insane to think that Ezra's been doing this for for the last 10 years, or give or take, here in the Star Wars canon, in the Star Wars universe. This is where both Thrawn and Ezra have been for the last 10 years, and it's finally been revealed and seen here in this episode, and it's a lot to take in, so much to process here overall. For starters, I absolutely loved the beginning of the episode showcasing Ahsoka and Huyang inside the Purrgil in hyperspace, traveling to this new galaxy, Peridia, that we see throughout this episode. Having that revealed in this episode makes Star Wars history. Having another galaxy in Star Wars is Star Wars history. That's something that we've never seen or have really heard of until this show, especially with Ahsoka Episode 2 confirming that that is where Thrawn and Ezra had been missing and had gone at the end of the Star Wars Rebels animated show. So to see this and to see this really come to life, it feels like such a breath of fresh air. It's amazing, and it's a completely unexplored new territory, and we're already seeing so much groundwork laid out for this, and seeing this really come to life and coming to fruition. There's been so many theories and even rumors regarding everything that's kind of gone on with both Thrawn and Ezra Bridger since their time away, and we're seeing that revealed and having that groundwork laid, as I had mentioned. This is just a small snippet of what is to come here in the future of not just the Ahsoka show, but also with the entirety of the Mandoverse. Having Ahsoka and Huyang traveling in the giant Purrgil at the beginning of the episode, as I had mentioned, I love Star Wars. I loved the way that Huyang had mentioned we're going to a galaxy far, far away, of course reminiscing from every other Star Wars project, showcasing of how all of these are in a galaxy far, far away, of course, as to that's where the Star Wars story takes place, in a galaxy far, far away, and I just absolutely loved that, that name drop in the actual Star Wars is just so dang cool. Of course, having this episode focus on the crew of the Eye of Sion and getting an update on them, having the majority of this episode focus on those characters made a lot of sense, and it's something I didn't necessarily expect to happen, to be honest, all that much, with, of course, Morgan Elsbeth, Baylan Skoll, and his apprentice Shinhati, also Sabine being brought back into the spotlight. I absolutely love to see more of her, especially after we missed all of these characters in last week's episode with Episode 5, not showing any of these characters that had been aboard the Eye of Sion, and there really wasn't necessarily all that explanation needed or given for what they had been doing aboard the Eye of Sion. Being aboard the Eye of Sion and being in hyperspace, their travels there really only took about a day, or one rotation as to refer to in the Star Wars canon. So in all honesty, I'm glad that we didn't waste all that much time of what had happened with them. We just jump right into the action and start moving forward with it already. I quickly want to mention that yes, of course, I'll have a full breakdown video here on the channel for this episode, Episode 6 of Ahsoka, into the regards of references, Easter eggs, and things that you guys might have missed throughout the episode. All the more reason to grab that subscribe button if you haven't already. Moving on down the tier list here, we have Morgan Elsbeth then meeting up with some remaining, or ancestors much rather, of the Witches of Dathomir. Was honestly such a cool concept, and these are OG Witches of Dathomir that we kind of see in the Clone Wars, which I absolutely loved. I can't wait to see some more of them them like expanded on with the future of the Ahsoka show. They really have it out for the Jedi. If that wasn't made clear in this episode, they absolutely despise them, and that they are definitely kind of siding with Thrawn and everything that he has going on with their allegiances. I love to see the big blue beautiful Thrawn back as well, back in action, back with his antics, back with his tactics, all at the same time here. Like, we see that really played out in this episode. Like, this guy is a mastermind when it comes to tactical warfare, and we see his thought process as he's explaining everything kind of to Morgan Elsbeth, of just kind of simply seeing and saying that, like, sure, let's honor that deal that Baylan Skoll and Shin Hati had with Sabine the prisoner. Let's send her on her way to go find Ezra Bridger, because Thrawn doesn't really know or even care all that much for as of where Ezra Bridger is what it seems like, and is honestly kind of funny. He doesn't really believe that Ezra Bridger doesn't really pose any threat to him, and it is very clear because Ezra Bridger is one single person when Thrawn has this whole entire army. I'm kind of confused up in the air with this, and I have a fair share of theories I'll be discussing here on the channel in separate future videos here, of course. I honestly don't necessarily believe these to all be like actual Imperial stormtroopers or an Imperial remnant actually all that much, but much rather something like entirely completely new. I think that this isn't like, I don't even think that these like Imperials or these quote-unquote stormtroopers that we see with Thrawn, this big Thrawn's army right here, are actual stormtroopers, and much rather that they are like, not, I don't even think that they're human. I think that there are like some other species like the Grist. A lot of people have discussed and talked about that here in the comment section down below. I would love to hear what you guys are all thinking, of course. They don't feel very Imperial-like. They feel more, I don't know, like just something else, but maybe that's what spending 10 years with Thrawn may do to you, of course, at the same time as well. As I digress though, as I had mentioned, with having Sabine kind of just being sent on her way to go find Ezra, he's just kind of like, sure, go have fun with that. Let me know what you guys, what you find there. He does the same thing with Baylan Skoll and his apprentice Shin Hati, kind of just sending them on like a side quest or a side mission, go follow her type of sort of deal. And then he goes on to explain to Morgan Elsbeth, like, now that they're out of our hair, they don't really matter all that much, honestly. And from there, he's just kind of moving operations forward as planned anyway, and thinks that they'll either just get stranded there or die. And Baylan Skoll, as very interestingly enough, even mentions and confirms many of those theories that have been floating around for months, maybe even years at this point, for what the Mandoverse is and has been building towards, of the Grist kind of army coming to fruition, as he mentions that they want to get out of here. It seemed like Thrawn wanted to get off of this planet and get far, far away, of course, back to the normal in-universe, like actual Star Wars canon galaxy, of course, because there's a much bigger and larger threat here. I will also mention, it does seem that maybe Thrawn and his army have been at war, maybe for some time being, or like have been a couple skirmishes or battles with some type of army. Maybe it was like those Red Guards guys that we see throughout this episode, but I feel like that doesn't necessarily fit such a threat that Thrawn would want to get out of there. Of course, guys, I would love to hear all of your thoughts and opinions, your theories. What did you guys think? Your initial reaction and thoughts in the comment section down below to Ahsoka Episode 6. Of course, as I had to mention, I'll have a full breakdown video here for Ahsoka Episode 6 into the regards of the references, things that you guys might have missed throughout that episode, with an overall Easter egg breakdown. All the more reason to grab that subscribe button if you haven't already. Thanks so much for watching today's video. Of course, this has been Unofficial Star Wars. I'll catch you guys in the next one. Have a great one. May the Force be with you as always. Peace out.